Hello and welcome to the City Trash Talk Podcast. I'm with Sergej. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine myself, and I swear I can talk. Today we're going to be talking about Silksong Controversies. You've been telling me that this new indie game that I've never heard of came out. It's called Silksong, and apparently there's been some controversy.
Yes. So a small indie game, of course, selling I don't know how many million copies on launch day. And with such a big release, there were bound to be controversies surrounding it, and so we're gonna talk about some of them. First one being,
I think that's probably true these days. I feel like the fact that, like, oh yeah, it had a big release, so there must be a controversy. I feel like that has not always been the case. But it does kind of feel like these days, like, people are almost looking for something to be upset about.
Yeah, it kind of does. Like, I don't remember any release that was, like, big and didn't have any controversies. Like, in recent years.
Yeah.
I mean, there are probably some, but I'm
also not super in those spaces, so I wouldn't really know. I try to stay away from all that, like, social media stuff, and so, like, unless it filters through, I don't really hear about it. Which is why you are now going to tell us what we're actually talking about.
Hell yeah. And I also only know about this because I am in the space, at least for Silksong in specifically. Yeah, so first one being that the game is only $20, less actually. Good. That is insane. For the amount of game you get for the price, that is so much value, so much more value than like probably all games coming out nowadays.
Yeah. Especially that's nice,
this high
right?
quality.
Like, that's a good thing.
That is an insanely good thing, right? But people still manage to be upset about this. Because of course they are. So, just to give a rough reference, the game, for a casual playthrough, I would estimate somewhere to be like around 50 to 60 hours long. And that's like without like adding filler or other kinds of like this kind of stuff. Just like normal gameplay.
This exact kind of thing, isn't there?
Probably. I'm not sure how accurate the numbers will be since the game just came out literally 2 weeks ago.
There will be people that have 100% of the game already. Surely.
Oh yeah,
howlongtobeat.com, I think that's the one I was thinking of. And let's see, let's go for Silksong. So I clicked the search box, and it puts up some suggestions right away. It's like, Hollow Knight Silksong, Hollow Knight, and then like a couple others. It's just the first two suggestions right away.
Yeah.
It says main story 25.5 hours, main plus extra 37.5, completionist 54.
All right.
I'm not.
Yeah, so a bit off.
I'm not trying to like disagree with your numbers. I'm just saying like because we'll probably compare this to other games soon, and now we have numbers that we can like compare. Because if you estimate one game and then you estimate another game, even if you've played both of them, you might like be skewed in different ways. And this hopefully is the most neutral numbers we can get.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. And yeah, that actually really makes sense since I kind of go for like a more completionist run.
Yeah,
I just want to experience the game as much as possible. So yeah, that would align pretty well. And I've seen people already post like 100% runs under 20 hours. So yeah, and if you want to like do a speed completion, that is also a thing.
Yeah, I will say, just because like a game takes a certain amount of time to complete, obviously isn't the only thing you should look at for value, but it is one of the more easily quantifiable things, right? Because I would rather spend 25.5 hours playing a great game than spend like 100 hours playing a mediocre game, right? Like that is
Exactly.
Also something to consider.
Absolutely.
So this is just the closest you can get to like an objective measurement, I think.
Mm-hmm. And just to throw this in, the game is like insanely polished and like it feels really good to play.
Wait, you're telling me in the year of our Lord 2025, a video game publisher published a finished, mostly bug-free video game?
Yes.
That just sounds like a lie.
Doesn't it, right? That, I guess, comes from it being like a passion project from like 2 indie developers.
You know, I mean, it almost feels like that is... I mean, we talked a little bit about, but before the recording, about like what even is indie. And I feel like that almost is the indie thing, right? Like, people that actually like care to put out a good game. Like, that's not actually a usable definition, but it feels like all of those big studios, they just care about the money. And yes, obviously it's a business. You can't not care about the money to some degree. But it seems like they just care about the money. And so you get a lot of games released where it's like, oh, QA testing costs money, so let's just release the game, have users report the bugs, and then maybe we'll fix them if we feel like it. And meanwhile, indie devs will be like, hey, let's actually release a good game.
Yeah, they've been working on this game for, I think, 7 years straight.
I believe there were memes about the game never coming out.
Yeah, so many memes. So many memes. The insanity was strong. But that's not the topic. So, the reason why people, or some people, are upset about the game costing only $20 is mainly from people working on those big games, big AAA games. Since they are pushing for games to be more expensive right now, like prices in the ranges of like $80, $90, even $100. I've seen like Mario Kart cost $120 on like the Nintendo shop. It's insane. So a game this great and this big coming out and only costing $20 is really upsetting for them.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the screen that came up here, right? It says that Cyberpunk 2077, the main story, is 26 hours versus Silksong's 25 and a half. Now, it does like set itself apart a bit more when it gets to main plus extra. It's 63, that's almost twice as much. Completion is 107, this is really getting close to twice as much now. But like still, right, it's gonna cost more than twice as much. So like even that comparison is particularly favorable. Now, it makes intuitive sense why that game would be more expensive to make.
Absolutely. There's so much more tech behind it. So much more assets that need to be done.
Yeah.
It makes sense why it costs so much.
I mean, the voice acting is expensive. It's 3D, which is always going to be more expensive. Because it is more difficult to make games in 3D because you have to like actually consider, especially with like a freely moving camera, because you have to consider like all the angles. You have to like live render everything. You have to like figure out how to do that optimally. You have to have textures like all the way around everything. Whereas if you have like a flat 2D game, you just need what you see on the screen. I mean, I guess you always just need what you see on the screen, but like you can see more on the screen in a 3D game.
Yeah,
that's what I was getting. And it's also like, I guess I would know, but I would assume that Silksong is also not exactly open world, right? So that is also like, I think
pretty
so,
much is somewhat. I mean, Silksong is Metroidvania, which means you have like one huge map that you can like freely explore and have to run around basically each area so many times to get like everything, since you unlock new abilities over time.
So I guess it is about
more places
as open
to
as a 2D
to.
game gets.
Basically, yeah, it basically open world, but in 2D.
It still feels like that would be a lot easier. But yes, okay. So video game publishers, traditional publishers, don't like that a good game is cheap. I understand why they don't like that. I just don't see why that would be our problem, right? Like,
not really.
And there's two things, right? Like some games, again, right? Like, as I said, Cyberpunk is one of the ones that just happened to be like shown here. But like, yeah, I get why you can't make that at the same kind of price as you can make a Hollow Knight game. and therefore it makes sense why I might have to charge more. At the same time, we have also seen examples, and I don't remember the exact titles right off the top of my head, where games more in line of like a game like Cyberpunk have also been made by indie studios at a fraction of the cost. I think there was the French team that made like a fairly big like 3D game recently that
Expedition 33, I think.
Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, 28 and a half hours for the main story, 44 hours for main and extra, and 60 hours for completion. That was also on here. I genuinely didn't remember that was the game that I was talking about. I just didn't care that much. But like apparently that is like a fraction of the cost of like most AAA games, and it looks like a AAA game.
Yeah. I've heard many, many good things about it. I have no idea what it's about, what the gameplay is, or anything else.
That's the thing, right? Like, I haven't bought a new video game in a couple of years now. Like, I wouldn't know. And like, even when I was buying games more aggressively, it was like Humble Bundle and like Steam sales and whatnot. I usually don't buy like new games anyways. Plus my PC is, over a decade old at this point, so it's not like I'm going to be running any new games either. But I think, I mean, it is on the one hand, it is the passion, right, that like allows you to like be a bit scrappier, but also something about how AAA studios assemble these teams and how they plan out the games just is inefficient. Because the fact that an indie team can make a comparable game for a fraction of the cost shows that there's just something fundamentally wrong with AAA development. And I can't point you at exactly what it is, but if you can, I mean, maybe part of it is that they pay their employees better. I don't know. But I can't imagine, right? Because I think it was like an order of magnitude cheaper than most AAA games of like a comparable like complexity and quality. So it's like you're doing something wrong, clearly. And maybe that means that you shouldn't be as competitive on the price front, right? Like if AAA games happen to cost a lot to make, then they'll cost a lot to buy, and then fewer people will buy them. And maybe those studios won't be able to afford to make games that expensively anymore, and then they'll have to figure out how to do it cheaper or die, right? And that's just how it is. Yeah. That is what a competitive marketplace is. And honestly, once you're like that big, I really have no sympathy for a company. I get that if the company goes under, people will get fired, but guess what? If their stock price like goes down 1 point, they'll also fire half their employees, which probably also isn't very efficient, but like it makes the quarterlies look better. So like, again, no sympathy for the corporation, maybe some sympathy for the people that work there, but hopefully they'll get other jobs, right? Like,
yeah, you've literally just like said all of my conclusion that I wanted to say.
Sorry, sometimes you just have to drop me. I'm very good at
that's fine. But yeah, like that was like the first group of people that is upset about this. I don't really care about them. Second group of people is other indie game developers, because they also develop games and targeted a very similar, if not the same price point for a game that is not as competitive content-wise or quality-wise as Silksong. And now they don't know what to do with their game for how much to release it.
Yeah, that's tough.
That is just tough. I don't know what to say there. I guess just release it at the same price you wanted it to. I think people will understand that Silksong is just like an extreme outlier.
Yeah. It is genuinely unfortunate, right? And this I can't really say could be harder, because the problem is, right, like when you're inefficient about your costs, I can say like cut those costs. But a lot of indie devs are already like producing games on a shoestring budget, and the problem is, if you know you're going to sell millions of copies, you can make your game cheaper than if you don't know if you're going to sell any copies. Right? That's just, out of a practical consideration, I get that. I will say, if people have to spend $60 on Hollow Knight, they might not have any money left over to buy your game. If they spend $20, maybe they'll also buy your game. Right? I think
that is true.
You kind of have to keep in mind that like people only have so much money to spend on video games, and increasingly less as well. And so I'm not sure how many people would be buying your game instead of Hollow Knight, right? So I think that game being cheaper also does potentially in some ways help. I don't know if it helps more than it hurts. I think there's like too many variables for me to just like intuit the answer there. I'm sure there are stats you could look at somewhere, somehow, but
there's probably a way to optimize the profit just by like seeing how much demand there is at which price point for a game.
Yeah, no, I meant specifically how
I don't think
Silksong's price affects other games. Like,
yeah,
it's difficult to say. But again, ultimately, as you said, right, I think people will understand that not every $20 game is going to be as good as Silksong. That is just, it's the truth. And also, again, I think people, to some degree, not everyone, of course, that's also fair to say, but at least some people also want to support indie developers. So they would be willing to pay for a lesser game if it's indie versus if it's like from like a big corporation and things like that. So I do think maybe that concern is a little overstated. Now, I mean, not the concern. I'm sure those people are genuinely concerned. I'm just saying, like, maybe like the effect that they are afraid of is not as big as they anticipate it to be.
I do think so as well.
And also, ultimately, there isn't really much to be done about that. I don't think like trying to undercut Silksong is very productive. Like, if you were gonna release a game at $20, as you said, right? Like, probably just release it at $20. You could try 15. You probably don't release it for 10, right? Like, because at some point you're just throwing away money.
Exactly. Especially if we also consider the third group that is upset about the price, being consumers that really like the game, feeling like they underpaid for it.
Sell merch, like I'm sure, like I don't know if they are selling merch, but like, if they are, like buy their merch, and if they're not, then like tell them to sell some merch or like something, right? Like they were comfortable selling it at that price.
I'm actually unaware if they do sell merch. I don't think they do.
It's a very small outfit, as you said, so it seems not unlikely they wouldn't, but like licensing is still a thing. And like they were comfortable selling it at that price, and given how many people bought it, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, they were probably fine for life from the first game. They just really wanted to make a sequel.
If you really want to pay more money, just buy another copy and gift it to someone. That way you can introduce more people to the game and give them more money.
I did. I bought myself a copy and a copy for Alex.
Yeah, see?
Plus, I also bought the digital album.
Oh, the soundtrack, yeah. Yeah, no, but like, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, if you really want to give more money to those people, you'll find a way to do that. Like, that doesn't mean that everyone else has to pay more money too, right? Like, some people won't have $60 to... I'm sure if you really want to play that game, you can save up for it, right? But like...
Yep.
Like, be happy that people that wouldn't otherwise be able to buy it or would have to wait longer to buy it can now buy it. And if you want to spend more money, again, like, you can literally just give away Steam keys or whatever. Like, you really can spend as much money on this as you want.
I mean, that's why I put the upset in, like, air quotes.
Yeah. No, I get that
more of a like, joke made.
I mean, I get that people are mostly joking about it, but at the same time, like, if you do genuinely want to support them, there are ways to do that without the game being more expensive. I get that, I don't really need to argue against this, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like sometimes people genuinely don't think about the fact that there are sometimes other ways to support game developers. Right? And again, oftentimes it is merch, but it might not always be available, and obviously it would have to be officially licensed merch for that money to go back there. If you buy something on Etsy, they're never going to see that money. Like, you can still buy it, but like,
Yeah, they're not going to see it ever. Yes, so a second controversy would be that the announcement trailer for the release date set the release date only 2 weeks out. There were only 14 days between announcement and actual release. It is insanely cool for me as a consumer, but also kind of an asshole move to other game developers, especially indie game developers that were releasing around the same time.
Yeah.
But there I would just say, okay, yeah, just tough luck. You're in the competitive market.
Yeah, it's also like, either delay your release, I guess, but I guess they've already announced a date, so like, if they then delay their release, I can see how that is, again, maybe a little bit unfortunate, but also, A, if people really are interested in your game, they're probably gonna buy it anyways, right? Like, they can either buy multiple games at once, or they'll just buy it a bit later. I mean, I get that it's easy with like as many new releases coming out that like you can get forgotten perhaps, and that again it is unfortunate, but I actually prefer shorter announcement windows for these sort of things, because the problem that happens with a longer window is by the time you're announcing it, the game isn't done yet, and then by the time that the release window comes up, you either end up in a situation where there's a lot of crunch and you overwork your developers, or you just have to push it back. Neither of which is optimal. Like, I guess it could be that you plan correctly and it works, but even with very reasonable planning, that can still go wrong.
Also, it will probably won't go
and if you,
right.
If you plan it too loosely, you'll finish the game, and then you'll have to wait like a year until it's released, which, like, I guess that works, but at the same time, like, in a year it could be dated, right? Like it's not optimal.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, maybe that's a bit exaggerated, especially with something like this, which isn't like... I don't think this game is, like, very, like, cutting edge in any particular sense, right? Like, the graphics are of... I'm not even sure if I've seen anything from Silksong, but, like, the Hollow Knight graphics are cool, but they're not exactly, like, computationally expensive or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so, I think this game, like, isn't going to age as much as some other games. If you want to have like a cutting edge 3D game and then, 3D graphics advance, it's going to look like shit. People always joke about like PS2 graphics, but those were impressive at the time, right? Like,
they were. Also,
really
about the graphics of Silksong, it is actually really well optimized. I don't think it would have any trouble running at 60 FPS on like a 20-year-old laptop.
By the way, have we ever talked about it? Yes, we have. The fact that AAA developers don't seem to care about optimizing their games anymore.
Yeah. It's insane.
Like, again, right? Like indie devs. Like, why would you ever buy like a AAA game when indie devs just like make games that run better and are cheaper and have no bugs? Okay, I shouldn't say no bugs. There's bound to be bugs. Because
there's lots of bugs in Silksong. It's a game about bugs.
Yeah, I ran into that one. But yeah, no, I mean, there's bound to be some bugs, right? Because you're developing for the stupidest platform ever, the PC, right? Like, like an x86 like software architecture is like so damn buried in like hardware and software environments that it's basically impossible to make a non-buggy, like to make software without any sort of edge cases or bugs. And even just like the actual internal logic could have errors just even on like the system that you built it on that you just didn't foresee, because games are so complex and there's so many different things you could do that could have some interaction that you didn't previously foresee. So there's like some switch or if or something that doesn't account for a certain variable being able to have a certain value, and suddenly you clip through a wall, right? Like that happens. But
yeah,
I'm saying, like, as you said, it's like a very stable game, and it's cheap. And what was the third? Oh, it's well optimized, right? Like, like that is unheard of with AAA games. Like, any of those things don't happen with AAA games right now. And all three in one. Like, and again, this is a bit of an outlier because Hollow Knight was such a success and they had a lot of money. And if you have other indie games, maybe not quite as polished. Maybe they don't have quite the same like value to cost ratio. But you're still probably going to get a better experience than with a lot of AAA games in regards to like it actually being complete. It actually being more or less stable. It, like people actually like caring about the game and supporting it. Like if there is an issue, all right, and it will still be cheaper as well. And graphics isn't everything. Like again, right? Like this game has great graphics, and a lot of AAA games have great graphics. But my favorite game of all time has some of the worst graphics you've ever seen. Okay, that's maybe a bit of an exaggeration. Yeah, it's Minecraft. But like it's a great game, and the graphics are, I mean, I guess in some ways they're getting better with time. Like the old Netherrack texture is honestly kind of rough.
It is really
rough. The old
rough.
gravel texture as well. Like I can see why they updated some of those, but like
honestly, okay, maybe you shouldn't get started, but I do prefer the old gravel. It actually looks like gravel.
I will say, I think there's like at least 3 different versions of gravel as well. I think there's like a very old one.
Yeah.
Then, like from like the beta days. Then I think there's the one that they used around release 1, and then I think there's the one that they use right now, which is like it got increasingly softer.
Yeah, I do like the one that they use like at 1.0 release around that time. Like I think they changed it to the new one at like 1.4 ish or something.
Huh.
I'm not sure.
It's possible. I mean, I think it was before 1.7.
Yeah.
And yeah, another change later. But no, the point was not about Minecraft graphics in specific, but about the fact that like a lot of the things that AAA publishers optimize for are not actually the most important things. Like good graphics are cool. Having like voice acting for every single character is cool, right? Those are all nice things to have. But ultimately, Minecraft's still the best game of all time. And that was made by like one guy who barely knew how to code.
Yeah. I mean, we still feel the consequences of that. But yeah.
Okay, yes, Minecraft Java is very poorly optimized. But by the way, I'm not like trying to insult Archie here. He himself has basically said like he didn't know how to code very well, and Java was the only thing he knew, which is why he coded in Java. And even then, he wasn't very good at it. Like I'm pretty sure it's all things he said himself.
It sounds like something you would say.
But yeah, no.
Yeah. On the topic of like bugs in Silksong, so far I've encountered one myself that is like super minor. Basically, if you try to heal at like one specific moment before like a cutscene, it eats your resources but does not give you the heal. Super minor thing, doesn't really matter. Another one that I've seen online people discuss is during one specific mission, if you die like in just like a couple frames after you complete the mission, you get soft locked in the area.
Oh.
Which is kind of rough, but they fixed that in the very next patch that they released like a week after release.
Hey, see? That's what I'm saying. They care about the game. They're going to support it. Like, if there is like a problematic issue, they will fix that. Because they actually care about the game. Because they're human beings and not a corporation. Which, yes, a corporation is made up of human beings, but the people at the top usually don't care all that much. And the people that would care will probably get fired after the game was really successful because it looks good for shareholders or something. Like, seriously. Like, there were cases where game publishers have, like, fired the team right after they released the game because, like, well, they're currently not assigned to any projects, and we need to cut workforce because of quarterly numbers or whatever, and so we'll just cut this. It's like, why do you keep doing this?
I will not understand.
It's also like the short-term thinking, right? Where it's like, it again looks better for the numbers, but I feel like if you actually like have stable employees, then first of all, it's going to be easier to support already existing games, which will then hopefully be positive for the audience and then makes people come back more likely. And it's also like, you know, once you move them to a new project, maybe they know some people that work there already, you know, maybe they're more familiar with the systems that you use, right? Yeah. I'm sure it would be cheaper to just keep the same people on board for a longer time. Like, I'm almost certain of that. But
it most likely would be. Even if you have like 1 or 2 months of downtime in between. Like just the knowledge being contained in the company.
Institutional knowledge.
Probably pay for itself. Yeah.
I get that like CEOs, I think, and like they have a duty to the shareholders to like optimize the share price or something. I don't think it's anything strictly speaking saying that they have to prioritize next quarter's stock prices, though, over like the long-term performance of the company, which would then also raise their stocks, right? Like this short-sightedness, I don't like. But yeah, I think this is more like a critique of capitalism as it is practiced in current year, rather than anything to do with Silksong.
That is true. So, I think we covered the both of the first 2 controversies. And the third one that I know of is third and last one that I know of is the difficulty. Silksong is quite a difficult game, as I've been told.
Not that you would notice, you just breeze through it. Obviously.
Sort of. Which is why I'm not sure which side of the argument I fall on. Because there's 3 at the moment. One, the loudest right now, being that the game is too hard, way too difficult, way too punishing, just grindy, not fun. Another being that it is too easy. You just breeze through it without any sort of challenge. And the third, the quietest of the bunch, being that it's right around, like, perfect. And I kinda fall in all 3 of them. And I'm not sure how to tackle this, because yes, overall the difficulty is quite a bit higher compared to the previous game, Hollow Knight. Normal enemies have a lot more attack patterns. They do, in some cases, more damage. Comparing it to Hollow Knight, most enemies, even most bosses, do 1 heart of damage to you per attack. And only like a handful of them do 2, and I think only like 1 instance where it does 3 hearts of damage in Hollow Knight, the predecessor. In Silksong, there are basic enemies that do 2 hearts of damage. Just by virtue of like the numbers game making it more difficult. Not even considering that these enemies often have more attack patterns that you have to learn and watch out for. And yeah, bosses, I think just in general do 2 hearts of damage in Silksong. Some, I think, do 3. I'm not 100% sure on that. Yeah, just the game is also much faster paced than Hollow Knight. Just the character of Hornet, the protagonist, is much more agile, much faster, has quite a lot more moves that she can execute. And therefore, to compensate for that, all the bosses were also made much faster, like quicker attacks, less downtime between attacks, all this kind of stuff. Often bosses will spawn minions that also attack you and often also do 2 hearts of damage. Considering that you only start out with only 5 of them, that is a lot. So you can only get hit 3 times before you die, unless you heal during the battle, which is made more difficult in this game since, well, there's less downtime between attacks. Since you're looking like that, you can heal in both Hollow Knight and Silksong by in Hollow Knight's focusing, where you just like stand still for a bit while pressing a button. During that time, you cannot really move and are really vulnerable, but you will heal 1 heart. In Hollow Knight, that is, and in Silksong, you can do something that's called Bind. Basically the same thing. You stay still, cannot move, are vulnerable during that time, but you heal 3 masks, or 3 hearts at once.
Yeah, the thing I was wondering about is, you said you have 5 hearts, and they deal 2 hearts of damage, and you can get hit 3 times before you die. That was what I was wondering about. That's why I was looking like that. Because the math doesn't math.
What do you mean? So you have 5 masks, and you die when you reach 0.
Yeah. So 3 is and you die. And the way you explained it sounded like 3 hits and you still live. Like it sounded like you said.
Oh,
you
no! You die on the you die
Before
only
you die.
on the third hit.
Yeah. That's how the math worked in my head as well. Yeah, I think you just worded it a bit weirdly. Yeah, it's fine.
Possibly. So you have to be like really precise with what you do. You don't have much chance to mess up and then recover. And yeah, that is apparently something people really have a problem with. I myself don't really that much. Possibly because I've played and almost fully completed the first game.
Yeah.
So I am already familiar with the controls, with like the pace of the harder bosses in the game, and just what to expect. Most people have not played the first game and are starting fresh with the second.
Huh? That seems like a weird choice, but okay.
I mean, FOMO, right? You hear about this cool game that's coming out very soon.
People have that, yeah.
And see all the hype that's around it. See, it's only $20. You think, hey, I might just join in and play it. Then just like get frustrated by like the first actual boss that isn't in the tutorial.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that some people would buy the second game. I find it weird that apparently it seems like a very common thing, because I feel like, first of all, like it's hyped up because people like the first games. I feel like if you're interested in it, you would have long played the first game. But second of all, yeah, I mean, I get in the abstract, right? Like I get why you would make a sequel harder, right? That makes a lot of sense. I also get why not everyone's gonna like play the whole series in order. And I mean, also the longer a series gets and the more time happens in between, the less like that is, right? Like people oftentimes don't go back to like really old games. But like, yeah, no, I can see why the game would be harder. Like why would, like as a choice. Because also like if people have mastered Hollow Knight or have like, gotten really good at it to the point where like, you know, they're doing like no-hit runs or something like that. And then the second game is no harder than the first one. They're gonna get bored really quickly. So I absolutely get why you would. It's less intuitive. Like it's very obvious to do that with like a DLC, because then, like, obviously you do the DLC after the main game. Whereas if it's a separate standalone thing, I can see why that could be a problem for people that haven't played the first one, which obviously do exist. Even if the way you say it, it seems like it's more numerous than I would have expected. But yeah, no, I mean that I can see it kind of from both sides. I mean, obviously the question that we I think are dealing with here is not, is the game too hard? Like that at the end of the day is a very subjective thing, but I guess the question is like, should it be easier or should there be difficulty settings? I think those are the questions that you at the end of the day want to tackle with the controversy, right?
Exactly. I personally don't think there should be difficulty settings. It is fine for a game to be too hard for someone to play. Like I probably have a lot of games that would be too hard for me and that I will just not play, even if I do enjoy the story or the art from the game. In those cases, I can, if I really wanted to, I can watch someone else play it that is better than me at those games and still enjoy it secondhand. I think that is fine. Like for example, I believe a lot of the Souls-likes would be way too hard for me. I don't really do well with 3D games that are that feature this kind of slow, methodical fighting that is like typical in Souls-likes.
Yeah, I also like
really struggle with that.
Never try to play those particular games because of the same reason, basically, where it's like, I think the debate came up for, I think it was Elden Ring, or maybe it was Bloodborne, I don't remember. Like, they were already talking about the same thing, where it's like, like, oh yeah, should these games have an easy mode, right? And I think the answer is a bit more complicated, because I feel like people were either in the camp of like, oh yeah, of course, right? Like I want to be able to finish that game no matter how bad I am at it, essentially. And like there should be an easy mode that enables that. And other people were like, no, the game is meant to be hard, and therefore there should not be an easy mode. And I can kind of see both sides of it. I mean, some people were like virtue signaling, like, oh, but like, what if you're disabled and then you can't play it at the full? It's like, yeah, but like, again, right? Like, you can't make a game that works for everyone, right? Like, what if you're blind, right? Like,
Exactly.
it just there are. I think the difficulty discussion is interesting, and at the end of the day, I think it should be left up to the developers, right? Because the problem that happens if you have difficulty settings is that the game will always be optimized for one setting, usually. And then when people play the game at a different setting, they might not get the optimal experience, the desired experience. And then you'll get reviews that complain about the experience being bad because they played at the wrong setting. And sometimes the games will at least have the decency to put like a recommended behind one of them, but oftentimes they don't. And so, like, I can both see why you would be upset about your experience not being good, because you couldn't have known any better that you're playing at the wrong setting. At the same time, like, I can see why. So, like, essentially, like, you are building this game around one experience, and you don't want to have any difficulty settings, because this is how you want people to experience the game, and that is perfectly fine. If you want your game to have difficulty settings, you should be able to have them, of course, but I think I can see why developers don't want to, like, offer an easy mode, and then have people complain that the game is too boring, right? Like, yeah, that's because you're playing it on easy mode. It is meant to be, like, difficult on easy mode. And so I get why you don't put it in there. I can also see argument for, like, why it would be good to have for people that don't want to spend however many hours it takes to get good enough at the game. Because, like, if you play through Hollow Knight, then Silksong will be easier to you, as you said, obviously. If you've played other similar games before, right? If you played, like, 2D platformers before, which I'm assuming it controls like one of those, then
much, yeah.
You will probably have more. You'll probably have an easier time at this, right? Like, if you've never played a game that's anything like this before, or maybe never played a video game at all before, obviously this will be a lot harder, right? And maybe, like, this cute little bug game, like, is something that is appealing to some people that haven't played video games before, and that's a shame, because obviously it's not really optimized for them, and that sucks, but, like, you know, like, play a different game first. Like, I can see the argument for an easy mode, but it's difficult if that then leads to the game being reviewed worse, potentially. And it's like, so I think we can't force developers to add easy modes to everything, because then you won't get the intended experience. And it's also a thing where, like, maybe they want everyone to have the same experience as well, right? Like, so you can actually, like, talk about it with people and, like, feel like you're talking about the same thing. Whereas if someone's like, oh yeah, game was super easy, and the person's like, oh, it was super hard, and one of them was playing one easy and the other one hard, it's like, yeah, go figure, right?
Yeah,
like,
obviously. At the same time, I also remember myself during the first game, Hollow Knight, during some of the late stage bosses, I spent, like, I think for one of them, like 6 hours just, like, trying to beat it.
Yeah.
And I think it was fine. Like if it was any easier, it would have detracted from the experience.
There's also the thing, right? Like, the actual, like, sense of accomplishment when you do something difficult just is bigger than if you do something easy, right? Like, it is basically directly proportional. Probably not literally exactly proportional, but, like, it's more or less proportional to the amount of effort you have to put in, right? That's just how that works. And you can't really, undo that, right? And again, right, I get why some people would want to play it on easy mode, and if that was an option, sure, right? The worst thing, by the way, is when games, like, have difficulty settings and then they make fun of you for choosing one of the available difficulty settings. Like, a couple of games do that. And it's like, don't give me the option if you don't want me to use it.
I feel like that's just shitty.
Yeah,
that's just, like, asshole behavior.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it is both valid to have difficulty settings to try to appeal to a broader audience and to make the game, like, more interesting to more people. At the same time, I think it is also valid to not have difficulty settings, to have, like, one definitive experience, right? I think both of those are valid pursuits, and therefore it should be left up to the developers.
One thing, though, for, like, some games, it, in my opinion, is kind of impractical to have difficulty settings. Like, here in Silksong and Hollow Knight as well. you cannot really change the difficulty all that much, because the health you have and the damage the enemies deal is kind of fixed. In Silksong, less so than in Hollow Knight, but still, it's not so much that you can do. You cannot be really granular with that.
Yeah, I mean,
the bosses being difficult is not that much with like them being tanky or anything. It's more about just the technical finesse you have to possess to be able to beat them, to not constantly run into their attacks, to actually be able to land hits on them. That's where most of the difficulty, in my opinion, is.
I'm pretty sure
which is really hard to tune for different difficulties.
Almost certainly make an easy mode, right? You could give the player more health. You could have the enemies deal less damage. That's more or less the same thing. You could reduce the number of different attack patterns that the enemy has, so as to make it easier to approach. You could literally make it slower. You could literally have it have simpler attack patterns that replace the more complex ones. Without even having played the game, just from like how you talk about it. I can already see a bunch of ways how you could make it easier, and therefore could have an easy mode that just toggles those things. It's never an impossibility to implement. There might be some games.
No, it's not impossible. It's just like the amount of effort that would be required to do that, because the game has a lot of different enemies and a lot of different environments that they're in.
I guess the easiest thing would just be to just like have the option of starting with more health, because you have to make like one change in the beginning, and then the balancing automatically becomes easier. I don't know how that scales.
I'm not even sure that's true, because again, like if you don't have the finesse required to be able to damage a boss, you're just gonna fail anyway, no matter how much health you have.
Yeah, I mean, again, like other things like just straight up slowing down either the game as a whole or specifically enemies, where like the player can still move faster, but the enemies can't. That obviously would be a lot easier than if it's just slower in total. But even if slower in total, I mean, there have literally been scandals of people cheating in video games for just slowing down the entire game, because you can make inputs more precisely. Like there are ways of doing that, and I mean, the question is like, how much effort do you want to put in as a developer to make the game have an easier mode? And again, like, is it worthwhile, right? Like, because if the game is about like trying to like conquer the difficulty, and you make it easy, that kind of defeats the purpose. And here's the thing, right? Like, I can't talk about Hollow Knight as much, but if you think Dark Souls is too difficult, then play Skyrim, right? Like, there are already other games that are like kind of similar. I don't know like how similar they are, strictly speaking, because I haven't played it. But like, you know, open world 3D medieval setting, like pseudo medieval setting, like it seems similar at first glance, and Skyrim isn't that difficult, right? So like, there are
for Hollow Knight, there is like a much more. No, it would be Ori in the Blind Forest or Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Two other Metroidvanias are also really popular. Have quite a different vibe to them, and different feeling controls, but in essence, they are really similar as games.
Yeah.
You could play those.
Yeah, but
as like, if you're not good enough, you can learn with them.
That's what I'm saying, right? There are usually alternatives, and sometimes there will even be. I mean, I don't know about Hollow Knight, but like for some games, it's also like there will be mods made for some games that'll just like change the difficulty as well, and that is an interesting thing, because at that point, you don't really get as many people complaining about like, oh, the game like sucks, because like once you install mods, you kind of understand that your experience is altered from what is intended, and you can still have the easy mode as well. It's sort of the best of both worlds. Where it is available, obviously not all games support modding. If they don't support it, it's a lot harder to do. I think I've seen that there were some Elden Ring mods, so like that game I think is moddable to some degree. I don't know like how easy it is to do that or how many mods exist, but like. And the people that mod it probably are not the ones that like are as interested in having an easy mode. So whether someone actually makes that mod is a whole other question. But
so say something about that. Silksong, I think, had the first easy mode mod come out I think within a couple days.
Yeah, see?
Of its release. Where it's not like a very intricate one, it's just reducing the damage that you receive from enemies.
Yeah, but like, again, right?
And
like,
environments.
There is at least an option to try to make the game easier for you if you really need it. But I also think that like actually like working on getting better and actually like beating it under your own power essentially is also worthwhile if you are really interested in that game, right? Like, I haven't played it. I mean, it looked kind of interesting, but also I already knew in for that it had a reputation of at least, I don't know if it's really difficult by like more experienced gaming standards, but like that it isn't an easy game by any stretch. And it seemed interesting enough, but like, you know, I've played 2D platformers or whatever. Like, I've played some games vaguely in genre, and like I've enjoyed them well enough. But like, I really don't need anything more than Mario, right? Like that's fine. Like, I play a Mario game like every now and again, maybe, right? And that is good enough for me. Right? Like, I'll keep playing my like puzzle games and card games and Minecraft because Minecraft is the best video game ever made. And like, I don't really need to like a difficult 2D platform in my life, right? Or even an easy one as much. It's fine. I'm okay. I'm good.
I mean, I do urge you to give it a try. But if not, then that's
I think I literally own Hollow Knight on Steam. Like, I have no excuse for not playing it. But I'm just generally like, it looks cool. I'm just not sure how much the game actually appeals to me.
The thing about it that I want to mention for the first Hollow Knight is the weakest part of it is the beginning. Because it's, in my opinion, stretches on for a bit too long, and especially while you don't really have much to do. You don't have all that many power-ups. So it feels really dragged out.
I just had to think
which is really unfortunate.
When people are like, you just have to get through the first 2 seasons, then it really gets good, I swear. It's like, why would I want to do that?
It is really unfortunate.
I mean, it's
when I played
a 27-hour game, right? Like, I'm sure like the beginning part is not that long in absolute terms, but
yeah, it's like I think like 2 hours or something. Where it picks up after. I personally didn't notice it while I was playing that.
It's also new and interesting, right? Like you don't, and also like oftentimes like the boring beginning parts get much more evident on replays because now you're used to like all the cool things that you can do later on, and you're like, oh, right, yeah.
Exactly. Silksong doesn't really fall into that problem so far, at least not as far as I noticed. It has a really strong start. The movement options that you have from the start are quite a lot better, and the first areas are also so much more fun to traverse. They're so much more detailed, so much, just like basically better in pretty much every regard.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is also a more difficult game, so I don't know if it is a good starting point.
So I guess our takeaway is there's nothing actually wrong with Silksong, but play Hollow Knight first.
Yeah. If you can like stick out the beginning of it. If not, maybe give Silksong a try. That might be more your cup of tea, and then come back to Hollow Knight.
I mean,
I don't know.
It does seem like kind of interesting, but also I'm not sure that would ever be like a game that I love. But that's just the thing, right? Like, not every game is for everyone. That's the other thing about the difficulty thing, right? Like, not every game is for everyone, right? Like, just play different games.
Just play a different game. If you don't like it, that's fine.
I guess that's also a thing, right? Like the sort of increasing sense of entitlement, right? Where people are like, this isn't fun for me, so therefore it must be bad. It's like, no, it's just not for you. Like, it's fine, right? Like, I mean, it's unfortunate, of course, when you like spend $70 on a AAA game and it sucks, but it's not for you, as I just said, right? You know, that's also why it's good that it's not 60 or $70, right? Like $20, like, I mean, still, it's unfortunate if you spend $20 and you don't like the game, like, obviously. But like, you know, that happens. And I feel like most people that play video games have a certain idea of like what kind of games will appeal to them to some degree ahead of time. That doesn't mean it will always 100% work out, and sometimes you should maybe try things that you are less used to. You might find things that you didn't realize you liked.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
In fact, that was Hollow Knight for me back then. I was kind of bullied into playing it by some friends that I have online, and I'm so glad that they did, because it's now one of my favorite games.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah.
Is there anything more?
And I've passed on the torch as well with that. I have bullied Alex into playing Hollow Knight, and he really enjoyed it, which he did not expect.
Yeah,
neither did I.
I was thinking I didn't expect it, but then again, I got him into Hearthstone, which also indirectly got him into WoW. Neither of which I would have expected when I first met him either. So because I'm pretty sure the only games that he had played when like we first met was like Madden, and I think some of those spawn up like Nintendo games. All right, like he wasn't exactly a gamer. So like. And there's nothing wrong with that either.
Still,
just like
even still, he really only plays WoW.
Yeah,
it was only because I bullied him into playing Hollow Knight that he played that game, but he returned to only playing WoW right after.
Yeah,
he just does not play other video games.
I find it interesting, right? Like not even just Alex, but like there are people like that. Like generally, and I don't really get it, especially if...
Yeah, no.
Apparently, the best WoW experience is when you're max level anyways. So, like, we did have a series on this very channel where I started playing WoW. And we did that for about 5 episodes until I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, it's so boring! Like, I don't care!
I was forced to play WoW as well. It was torture.
And the thing is, right, I'm pretty sure, and I can't say this for certain, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't enjoy the other parts either, right? When it's like, oh yeah, just like do raids all the time and like grind bosses and stuff. Like, it's like that's terribly boring, right?
Yeah.
Like first of all, you're just killing the same boss over and over again. That's just like categorically boring. Like, surely it's not difficult anymore, right? Like, surely you're just like doing it. Like that no. And second of all, like raids don't sound that appealing to me in the first place. So. Like, I don't know, I don't really get WoW, right? Like, the closest thing that I can think of is that I used to play a decent amount of Borderlands, mostly 2. And like that also has bosses that you can like fight over and over again to try to get weapons. And I've like maybe killed some boss like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, you know what? I don't really need this legendary weapon. I can just like not get it. Like I just, no, like grinding for like specific loot is just not cool. Like, that's just not fun.
Yeah, no.
And some people enjoy it, and that's fine, right? Like, that's what I was saying, right? Like, just do whatever you like.
Grinding is something that I also just cannot do. That just feels like torture. But on the topic of like fighting the same bosses over and over again, I do sort of have to disagree. Because like, you kind of also do it in games like Hollow Knight and like Souls-likes and like other types of games where you have really difficult bosses that you just like attempt over and over again, and once you beat them, you just continue grinding them, like practicing them, just getting better and better, getting more precise with your movements and attacks. So I can really see how that would be a very appealing part in WoW.
I get that to some degree, because at least you're getting better, right? Like, you're actually getting something out of it besides the like dice roll, whether or not you get the specific item you wanted. But even then, I think once you've beat them, I feel like I'd be done with it. I mean, I'm not even sure if I want to grind them to learn how to beat them. That's the thing, right? Like, I'm not very good at video games. Like, I just don't really care to like work that hard to get better most of the time, which is also why I never was like that into the idea of playing Hollow Knight in the first place, right? Like, because
yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I'll probably play it somewhere because again, I'm pretty sure I own a copy, so like I might as well. Like, but chances I'm not going to finish it,
and that's perfectly fine as well.
Which is, I guess it's not strictly speaking true that I never like try to get better, but like I feel like even if I do try to get better, first of all, I never like optimize strategies. Like I just play jank. And second of all, like yeah, sure, getting better, but that's more like I'll get better at puzzle games. I'll get better at card games, but like like platformers or like FPS or whatever, like whatever the other one is, like first person sword or whatever. You know, like wait, are they even they're third person, right? The games I think of, like Skyrim, I think it's third person by default. The Elden Ring is third person, I think. Like I think most of the games I think of. I think Skyrim can be both. I think actually it's first person by default, isn't it?
Dude, I'm not even sure anymore. A lot of them, I think, are.
The point being, it really wasn't about perspective. I just said FPS because I was thinking of like first person, like, and then I was like, wait, shooter? No, I'm not even thinking about shooters as much. But yeah, no. The idea of like working on getting better is just like not that appealing to me for those. Whereas for like the more mental ones, that's I think that's also generally a thing, right? I like mental games a lot more than like reflex or like memorization or whatever. Like, which I guess is mental, but the whole like memorizing attack patterns and like figuring out how the best approach to this, like, not really. Like I like getting good at cards more so.
Yeah. I feel like we've exhausted the topic.
And then some.
Should we move on?
Let's go to our facts of the week, starting with your fact of the week.
Right. So, apparently, sloths can hold their breath for much, much longer than dolphins can. They can hold their breath for up to 40 minutes, which is kind of mental. While dolphins typically can hold their breath for between like 10 and 15 minutes. For comparison, the Guinness World Record for the longest breath held voluntarily underwater is 29 minutes and 3 seconds. That was set this June.
So what you're telling me is that if humans try, we're better at holding our breath than dolphins.
Yes,
I feel like
twice as good.
That feels like a bigger takeaway. Like I kind of get it for sloths. Weirdly enough, like that didn't surprise me as much because they're slow in everything. I think they have slow metabolisms as well. So it kind of makes sense that they wouldn't need as much oxygen if their metabolism is slower, right? And so like that.
Although funnily enough, the sloths actually are faster in water than they are on land, like up to 3 times faster.
Which is weird because I'm pretty sure they're like supposed to have evolved to live in trees.
Yeah.
Well, except for the giant ground sloth, of course, but those are extinct because we killed them all. They used to live in North America. Actually, I'm not sure if we killed those specifically. We killed a lot of megafauna. Like, most megafauna that died is because of humans. I think that is also true for the giant ground sloth. Which is still, like, a really cool animal. Just because, you know... What say more besides giant ground sloth? I mean, mostly giant sloth are the things that do it there, but, like, obviously...
It already sounds amazing. Also, I just noticed that the time, the world record, is actually more precise. So it's 29 minutes, 3 seconds, and 7 centiseconds.
First of all, love the use of centiseconds. You could have just said 70 milliseconds, but I guess it wasn't that precise, so maybe you didn't want to do that. And I mean, that is... If it is very competitive, you want to measure very closely because you don't want to have unnecessary ties. I get that. It's just one of those things, right? Like people are crazy. And like human beings can achieve a lot of things if we set our minds to it. And I'm not saying that everyone could achieve that particular number. I'm pretty sure some people are better at that. Also, if the person who set that record does not happen to be from the mountains, then they should definitely try to get someone from like Nepal or Tibet to like try to beat that, because they just
I've heard there's also like a fishing village somewhere in the world that has like super divers. that can hold their breath for like 20 minutes, like all of them.
That wouldn't super surprise me. No, I was just like, my first thought was in like really high mountains in the end, like Tibetan Balkan, like in the Himalayas. That was the wrong stress. They need less oxygen because there is less oxygen in the air, so they adapted to it. And so I'm pretty sure if they like breathe sea level air, they could probably hold their breath longer than someone from sea level with the same level of training. And so if they trained the same way that whoever like set that record trained, they might be able to beat it.
Yeah.
Maybe they can beat the Slavs.
I cannot say if the person that beat it comes from a mountainous region or not. All I know is that he is from Croatia. Yeah. And just to be complete, his name is Vitomir. And I'm gonna butcher the last name. Marichik? I think that's how you pronounce that. Not sure.
Possible. I mean, you're probably doing better than I would have. I was just thinking, like I can kind of vaguely sound Slavic, maybe.
Yeah, the C has like a hat on it.
I think it makes it sh. Or sh is one of those, I think.
Yeah, and the second C, the one at the end, has like a little up for me.
An acute accent.
Yeah. So I'm not. I don't know how to pronounce.
I will say, I think it's kind of fucked up that so many Slavic languages use the Roman alphabet. Like just stick with Cyrillic. Yeah. It's actually easier to read. I'm sure if you
it is made for it.
I'm sure if you're used to it, it's fine. But like Polish just looks way too insane. And it's like, if you actually spell it with the Slavic alphabet, with a Cyrillic alphabet, it actually is fine. Like,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Like Polish isn't as weird as people make it out to be. It's just because of all of those vowel clusters that end up just all being variations of sh. You have like SZ, CZ, and it's like, okay, but what? And it's just like, oh, that means sh. It's like, oh yeah, that's actually fine. Or it's like sh or something. But like still, it's like it's perfectly understandable. But like, because you use so many characters, it just looks really weird.
Yep.
Having said that, my fact of the week is about Arnold Schwarzenegger, who actually, so if you think, you're probably the wrong person to ask this. If you think about Schwarzenegger, what movie do you reckon he made the most money with?
I mean, probably Terminator. I don't know.
I was thinking you're probably the wrong person to ask about this kind of movie question. The answer, I think Terminator is probably what a lot of people would go with. Maybe not the first one, just because of if you think about money and success and whatnot, the first one probably was his big break, so he probably didn't make as much. But the answer is Twins.
Twins? What is that?
Okay, so see, that's the problem. So Twins is a comedy where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito play twins. It is a bit more complicated than that. It involves genetic engineering. The point is, it's a comedy. Yeah, look at the poster for Twins. It's gotta be funny. And the reason why he made so much money on that movie is because no one believed he could do a comedy. And so him and DeVito came up with the idea that they weren't going to take any money up front, and they were going to take 40% collectively between them of the revenue of the movie instead. Or of the profits, I guess. And so it made over $40 million because that movie was successful. And I just find these stories interesting because that happens all the time. There's someone doesn't believe in a project, and so they'll be like, oh yeah, I'll just take less money out, and they'll take a cut, and then make a ton of money because it ended up being successful. Now, again, survivorship bias. Wait, I think that was a conversation we had before the podcast, actually. But I'm sure that this happens in cases where people don't end up being successful, so I'm not saying this is categorically a good idea. But it's just always interesting when stories like this where oh yeah, they didn't believe he could do it, and then he actually ended up making more money there than anywhere else because they didn't believe in him, essentially. Which is just very funny to me. And by the way, good movie. So it is a good movie. It's quite fun.
Okay. I would hope that is the case from a comedy. I will put it on my list. I will watch it sometime. Sounds interesting. And quite absurd, honestly.
Yeah. That's why that's where the humor comes from. Yeah, no, I mean, those two are also like a great comedic pairing. I mean, it's not even the only comedy they did together. Although, I've also seen Junior, which isn't all that good. But I think some of the stuff between those two is actually like the best parts of that movie still. So, even if the movie itself is not good, those two still are a good comedic pairing. Which I guess brings us to whatever the next thing is. The halftime show, Squirrel. How about that?
Oh yeah.
Let me try to remember which button to press. It's this one. Weekly Squirrel number 177. That's a lot of weeks. Well, the podcast is also weekly. So
that is much more weeks.
We say fuck laser. Why am I so bad at remembering things today? And tonic.
No, let's not try to fuck lasers. They probably hurt.
Well, depends. Oh yeah, I forgot to turn off auto hiding. White hints. It's fine. Or auto fading white hints.
Yeah.
So it's fading the N because we already have an N. I like having the N there because it still tells us that this row and column cannot have an N. It's still a useful hint.
Exactly. I mean, it's fine. We can live with this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to change it mid-session. I'm not even sure I can without giving up our progress. Our very good progress that we definitely couldn't repeat by putting in the exact same words again that we know because it's the same ones every time. But,
Yeah. Regardless. What do we have? We have an A and S in the first row that cannot... Well, the A cannot be in the first column. The S can. It's
not all that much. And I think the second column is probably the best we have. With the T and the A. And then also already having the N. But even that is not that much. And the funny thing is, this row wants both the A and the T, and either one could reasonably go there.
Yeah.
Because you absolutely could have a word like enter. I mean, not literally enter because you need an A somewhere, but yeah.
Wait, enter?
What was I thinking? Oh no, that does actually not have a T there. Wait, T does not actually very naturally go there, does it? Yeah, no, somewhere in my brain I was like, oh yeah, NT is a perfectly normal sequence of letters, but TN is the one we're looking for. I think it could go there, but it seems actually not super likely. I'm sure there's some prefix somewhere that we could use to say it's it's at something, I don't know, but yeah, so the T probably doesn't go there, which means that I kind of want to put the A there.
Yeah, I feel like that is more probable.
Pants. I don't know.
But other than that, another curious detail is that we do have a C in the grid.
Yes. And it's not in the second row column or last row column. Which gives us a 2x2 here, the 2 up here, the 2 up here, and the very top left corner. I've started to finally figure out where, how those intersections work. The problem is we have so few letters to go off of that it's not super useful to know that there has to be a C somewhere. It's not super likely, I guess, to be after the N, but even that is possible. NQ. I think that's a word. Unq. That sounds like a word. DQ. Oh no, wait, that's nope. I was thinking of because how do I get NC in there, right? It's with a prefix. And then at some point started forgetting that the N needed to be at the end of the prefix. So that's why I said DQ. It doesn't really work because, it doesn't have an N. But NQ or unQ. NQ sounds like it could be a word. Which would just be a synonym for Q, though, right?
Yeah.
Wait, Q. Wait. Q, it's not spelled like that, though, is it? Because Q, as in like, list, is like...
It's 5 letters long. Yeah.
Yeah! Huh! Wait, what was the Q I was thinking of? Was I just thinking of Clue, or is it actually like a CUE?
There is CUE also.
What does it mean? Why am I...
It's like performance cue that you can give someone, like on cue.
Oh, it seems like a word right to me.
Cue. Yeah.
But then, okay, so maybe uncue is not a word then. I guess you could try to take your cue back, but like... my point was, it is conceivable that the C could come after an N. More so than it was trying to suggest that it is NQ, because there can't be an E anyways. Although unQ would, like, with the information we currently have, it could technically be unQ, assuming that is a word. Which is admittedly a bit of an assumption. Yeah, cue the music. So those are different cues. Huh.
Yeah.
Because especially like cue the music, in my mind, it kind of just reads as put the next song in the queue, right? Like, because like programmatically a queue is just a list essentially.
Yeah.
So like in my mind, like queuing the music is QUE, but I guess it is just CUE then, huh?
It probably depends on context. I wouldn't
but like if it's just like cue the music, right? Like it's just like, like
I would assume that's spelled QUEUE.
See, now I would have assumed so as well until you just explained the other Q to me, which I is a word that I have heard before, but like, that's just the way.
I mean, like the saying "right on cue," that would be CUE.
Yeah. I think cue the music is the same type of cue though.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, it might be. Not. I
Light,
don't know.
Camera, action. Like cue the music. Yeah, no, I think. Huh. To be fair, people also always use the wrong rain, so it's fine.
Yeah, probably.
There's 3 different words that sound like rain.
Yep. At least 3. Maybe more.
I was thinking precipitation, horsemanship, and ruling. That.
Yep.
Being in charge.
Yes.
Because ruling could also be making a decision. As in, like, judicially. None of which is productive to our freaking Squirtle. Okay, so, I believe I already said pants. We also have rants.
Yeah.
And obviously, panty and ranty. Wait, panty singular. Panty singular surely has a Y, right?
Yes.
I feel like it's a word that you mostly see in plural. Wait, it's only in plural.
Yes.
It's like pants. It's always in plural. Unless, of course, you're out of breath and you're very panty.
Plural. Yeah, I mean, panty does have a plural, an actual one that is different from the singular, so...
I mean, I guess maybe the singular still exists, but it's like pants, right? Like, you wouldn't be saying, I'm wearing panties. You wouldn't be saying, I'm wearing a panty. Because the English language is weird like that. I'm wearing glasses. I'm not wearing a glass. Okay, I mean, a glass is also a different thing, but I'm wearing pants, trousers to the Brits. But like, why is it a plural, right? The explanation was, it has 2 legs. Like, yeah, but like, the word pant like exists. It's not like we say one pant.
I mean, that's just linguistics.
Okay, this literally has 2 pieces that are made of glass. that could individually be described as
Yes.
glasses. Like, I can kind of concede that one. I still think pants is stupid. And by extension, panties and trousers and all of the other ones.
Honestly, glasses should be called binocles.
Yeah, like a monocle, binocle, yeah. I was also gonna say, I said these are two glasses, but these are really more two pieces of glass because glasses are the drinking thing. So they really should be known as lenses, not glasses. Was what I was gonna say. But
I mean, as far as I know, the singular one is also known as lens.
Yeah. So I was saying, like, I'm not wearing glasses, I'm wearing lenses. Realistically, like that would have been a much better way of saying that. Like, not in practice because that's not how the English language works, but like in theory, you know. In theory and practice are the same thing. In practice, they're not.
Exactly. Okay.
None of this helps.
We should continue playing the game. Right. So, I just pulled up the letter list that we came up with many moons ago, and the next
the one that's wrong,
5. Yeah, the one that's guaranteed to be wrong, but still helpful in some regards. So the next 5 letters would be M, D, G, H, and P.
M, D, G, H, and P. That sounds like some sort of doctor, right? Like, he's an MD, GHP. That like absolutely sounds like he's a specific type of doctor.
It kind of does, yes. Just like,
like DMD.
Medical doctor, and then like all the names just shortened.
I mean, you could probably go like Dr. So-and-so, MD, PhD, because doctor, like, already says that he has a PhD, so it's kind of redundant, but, and then MD is medical doctor, too, because anyone can call themselves a doctor if they have a PhD, so. Although everyone thinks medical doctor when they hear doctor, which is quite an interesting thing in its own right, and I'm once again going on a tangent!
The tangents are strong today.
Santa!
Fuck. Yes.
I don't know if that's necessarily better than pants.
Oh god. I mean, surely. So,
Right, yeah, MDGHP. I personally am always more partial to you. But yeah, like MDUGH. Macht. MUGHD. It's probably Dutch. Mucht. Okay, where was I? Alright, I was gonna say ghoul, but there are no L's, so it's not that good.
Yeah, I'm also trying to find something with like GH as the start.
Or the end. It would also work at the end as well. Like OUGH is genuine ending, but then we only have one letter left.
I mean, dough, but that would not be all that good.
Because the O is poorly placed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be really good, actually, because we did want D and G and H. Those were all like pretty high up there. I mean, we do have Ghost, of course. But that has an O, it has no U's. I mean, the O is not bad, it's just like... It's not a U. And the S and T, obviously, we have some knowledge of already. I mean, the S could be correct, which is, I guess, maybe a good thing. But Ghost's not optimal. I think GHU is tricky, though. Like, I think we'd have to...
Yeah.
Because I think GH is generally followed by O, most commonly.
I think
or
so
A
as well.
Works as well. You could have Ghost.
But yeah, U after GH is, I think, unlikely.
I can't think of a case right off.
Please remind me after the podcast to like finally look up words for like the third word.
Oh, right. To just like have a default answer in case the first two don't give us much of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will forget by the end of the podcast, just as you will. So it's not...
Yeah, but like, just in case you remember. Or if you're watching this as a viewer, please just like ping me or something, write a comment. I don't know. Any bit of interaction.
Gumbo. How about gumbo?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Gumbo. No G's, no B's.
At least we know.
A lot of limits on the O's as well.
Yeah, you actually quite interesting.
Yeah, so we have no O's in the first two, in the second and third, or last row. So it's just 2 rows that O can go in. And I mean, I guess technically 3 columns, but we really primarily wanted in 1. The U has to be in one of 3 spots, I guess. That's not actually that much information, is it? I mean, I guess it's good to know, but...
The O is much better constrained. That is true.
Up there would be interesting because we have some letters there already, although there's only 2, so it's not that much. And down here, obviously, could work just as well. The M is also interesting. It's not that unlikely that we would have an M, but now we know for sure. And we know where it isn't, which is always fun.
Yeah. The missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't, and all that.
Sounds like a literary quote, but I couldn't tell you where from.
And it's a meme. I think the origin is that, like, at some point, like, some kind of military manufacturer, like, missiles made, like, an advertisement, but I think because they were, like, under so many NDAs, they couldn't really say anything of value about the missile, so they just, like, sell bullshit, like, yeah, the missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't. It was just, like, memed to death because of it.
I still don't like the subtle implication of the fact that there is advertising for military weaponry in the first place.
There is.
Yeah, no, I get it, but like, I feel like military manufacturing should not have been privatized in the first place, right? Like,
yeah,
it's like, oh yeah,
it makes a lot of money.
You aren't allowed to own any of these weapons privately, but also we are letting private people produce them. It's like, okay, you do see how that could be misused, right? Like, I'm not even saying it will be. It's mostly that it's quite dystopian how they're like competing to be better at killing people. We didn't actually get that much more positive information. We just got the O and the U. I mean, some of the negative information is useful. Just not as imminently useful. I mean, the following row or column both want an E. We could try seeing if that T is correctly placed. I think it has a good shot of being right because I was trying to think of words ending in T. So, like,
yeah.
And it decided that the T was more likely there. But more likely doesn't by no means mean guaranteed. So we could try for something with a T at second and an E somewhere besides first. Or second by process of elimination because we can't have a T in second.
Yeah.
E. It would also give us more information about the second row for the T. So even if we don't hit it in the second column, we might still get information about the second row. So then, I don't think the T is terrible. It's just otter.
Which one? What do you say?
Utter.
utter.
It's kind of terrible, but also like kind of not that terrible. Because we do want to know more about the U. And E and R work for both the row and column that we will put it in.
Yeah.
I could be convinced to do outer instead and just not hit the T in that particular spot, but at least test more for O's. Again, O could go theoretically in both of those spots, and we would try.
I would not like to test for U in that position.
Oh, right. Yeah, never mind. I see it now. I mean, Otter would also work.
Yeah. Other, I would...
Other! That's even better. We haven't even tried for H yet. I actually don't hate that. Do you want to go for other?
Yeah.
I mean, the ER is a bit on the nose, but... That's a lot of orange. That's a lot of orange. Okay, so wait. The E only has 2 spots that it can go in the second to last row. And equally 2 spots in second to last column.
That is correct, yes.
And the R can only go... Same thing, pretty much, in here or there.
Yep.
Well, here and there. I mean, obviously, there's a particular spot that might seem plausible. I'm just going to put R here and R there.
I mean, sure, why not, right?
Yeah, it was...
That'd be good.
I don't like words ending RE, I feel like... Stern. Which, funnily enough, works for both. I mean, obviously, not as a guess right now, but it is a word that could work for either the row or column as we have currently constructed it. What's the deal with ends? Oh, yeah, it's just not there. Okay.
Yeah, what have we discovered on the O's?
Second to last row.
Yeah.
Wait a second. This has to be an O. Wait, no, that's not how you do that. This has to be an O.
Yep.
So it can't be an E then. I know, right? Genius. Wait, so the E has to be here, right?
Yeah.
As a...
Which means the R is definitely in the spot we have.
Which, yes, is guaranteed as well. So it's what, store?
Probably.
A tour? It wouldn't even be allowed. So, okay, store. I'm actually fairly confident about that point. Okay, cool. I'm really confident about our guesses. I mean, it's barely a guess at this point. So what about the other O? Oh, wait, that is the other O.
Yeah.
Right. Here I was thinking we might have gotten 2 O's with all of that, but it is the same O. Unfortunately.
It is the same.
Well, there's only so much you could ask for.
Hey, anything interesting with the H's? Does not look like it.
It's just... it's 2 negatives. Bottom right corner does not seem like a... Wait a sec. Never mind. I was just trying to see about the R's, but no, this R is not super constrained. No, the H's... Because like, if this R is right, obviously, then the H can't go there either. So I was looking at that. But then it could still go... Well, what like...
In the top left, 2x2, and then the other corners, 1x2.
Oh, right, those corners. Yeah. It's like I still like apparently haven't fully wrapped my brain around like some of those constellations. Weirdly enough, I think if they hadn't been here, but what would it be there? It might have been easier for me, despite the fact it's like a straight mirror image.
Possibly, but the thing is, it would work in like many different spots reasonably well. Like H works really well after T's. So it could be in those 2 corners. It could also be at the beginning of a word, so it could also be in the other corner.
Yeah.
I doubt we'll see it in the bottom right corner, since that just looks kind of weird there.
Ending in H is weird. Ending in EH might almost be weirder. Yeah, because CH, SH, and TH would have been fine endings, but EH is weird.
Yeah.
And the E is fixed, so...
Mm-hmm. Okay, what else do we have?
The row and column that we're supposed to be working on only needs an R, which we already have a possible position for. I think I was looking... What was I looking at? I was looking at this... No, wait, what was I looking at? I was looking at the... No, I wasn't. I think I was trying to look at this, but I think I got it wrong. But still, and we do need a U here anyways. Is legitimate. NUE is not allowed. Again, the auto-fading is unfortunate, and I intentionally disabled click to fade so they don't accidentally, when I try to put a letter in, click it. But that means that I can't outfade them.
I mean, as long as they're still visible, that's fine.
Yeah. The point being, U has to go either at the end, EU at the end. How are you feeling about that?
Not that great.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, it could also still go where the E is right now, since there's nothing technically speaking against it.
Yeah, but the word is under, isn't it?
I mean, could be, yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm less confident about that R, but yeah. I like the word being under. That works. What else do we have? A and T, well, we have those. But now we need an R in this column, and it doesn't have to be here anymore. Well, I mean, it never did need to be, but now it could be there. I mean, surely it could be there.
I mean, yeah, of course.
Wait, S? D-O-R. Wait, if the R was here, that would then necessitate the S being there. Which, as far as the row is concerned, works. But the column...
Yeah.
So, the R is probably not there. It's probably not there, so it probably still is there. Okay, cool. Then now the S obviously doesn't have to be there. Could be at the end of the word as well. Which actually, like, come to think of it, it wasn't the R that made this... It wasn't the R that made this problematic, was it? Even think about... like, what goes in front of SD, right? It would have to be a vowel. And then what is it? As-do something? As-do something? Osdo?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some of them, like as done, sound like they could potentially be words, but it's just because Aston is a word, or proper noun. But like, as door, as done, as dot. Like, I don't think that S there sounds good in any constellation. Again, maybe I'm just not seeing something. Happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Happens a lot. That makes me think DOS.
DOS sounds much more reasonable.
And then obviously this letter is M and this letter is also S. Yeah, took him a second. MS-DOS. Yep.
Yep.
Alright, the one thing that's good about the hiding is that we do now still know we need an M, an H, and a C that we have absolutely no other hints for besides the white ones. That's the advantage of auto-hiding. Auto-fading, rather. With C, H, and M were the ones, so... Well, I mean, there isn't that many spots left, is there?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's still too many.
C is just those two, and that one, essentially. It's just the first row.
Yeah.
CTER is not going to be right. It's either this or that. If everything we put in is right, which is, as I always say, a big if, then there's only 2 possible spots for the C. And it can't be kudos. Which might not even be spelled with C. I think it's spelled with K. But,
Okay, yeah.
Because, no use. Is because of that. So, like, if this is C, that's what? Kedos? Kados? Kaidos? No eyes, but whatever. Or, like, that doesn't sound plausible. Which means the C essentially has to be there. If everything else we put in is correct, which there's absolutely no reason why it should be. Cause, by the way, nah, it's just not, neither of those letters is allowed. But it would have been a nice word. Damn, what would come after a C then? And before U? H? I mean, we do need an H.
Yeah. I'm just really confused by the first column.
That's what I was trying to think of. Like, between C and U, I guess it has to be H, right? Because it normally would be A or, right, like cause, as I said, right? Like, is a great word here. Except that it can't be an A and it can't be an E.
Yeah.
So was it chus? Is that a word? It doesn't seem right. I'll concede that, but I did quite like under. It could also still, as you pointed out, be this.
Yeah.
It's less necessary for that to be an H then, but we do still need an H in that general area.
Yep.
Well, or...
It doesn't change anything for the H's. Yeah.
No, I was just
because
thinking...
in that row, you couldn't have an H anyway.
What? No, the H can be here.
Yeah, there, but not in the row after.
Yeah, no, I was trying to say, like, with this being a U, it basically had to be an H because it can't be an A. And now that the U is gone, it needs to be an H, not as much as it used to be. That's what I was saying.
Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah, I guess.
Because the H could also not be here.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what this ends up being. Like, hand-T. Like, that doesn't really sound like anything, but, you know, just in an abstract sense. Could also be in one of those, which is obviously, like, we don't know anything about those. It could be crush. Oh no, it can't be crush. Never mind. If this could be an R, it could absolutely be crush, which would have solved our H problem as well.
There's so many things that would fit the blanks, but so many letters are banned either in the column or row that I would like to place them in, that like none of them work.
Yeah, I keep having the problem as well, because I said cause, and then I realized that neither of those letters is allowed, and then I said crush, and that isn't allowed either.
Yeah.
And because I have a really good talent of coming up with words that are not allowed, I keep coming up with them.
Yeah, like I chose chest, all don't work because of varying reasons.
Yeah, I also want to say something like clust, which sounds like, you know, cluster, but without...
Yeah, no else at all. Yeah.
Oh, no else at all. Never mind. Black was even worse than the other ones, the other language ones. Okay, so... But then it, once again, goes back to basically having to be a vowel or H, right? Because CQ, CW, CR is not allowed. CT, ZZ... None unless it's check. CP?
No E's.
CS? CD? CF? No, I was just like genuinely saying, right, like CJ, CK. CK works, but not at the beginning. CX,
One curious thing is, like, I think no single vowel works in second position for the first column.
No I's across the board, no O's or U's in the row, no A's or E's in the column. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
so
why?
Gotta be a constant. Yeah.
Sometimes why? No, but that means because the only consonant that works is H. So I think we have pretty much, as far as I can tell. So I think we've pretty much definitively said, out of the ones that are allowed, the only consonant that works is H, and there are no vowels allowed except maybe Y. So it's H or Y, and CY, like cyan, right? Like it works in some limited circumstances, but not that many.
Insist.
Yeah, cybernetic. I just realized that it actually like works in way too many circumstances.
Yeah.
And then we're starting YA is like maybe not with a T there. I don't know about that right offhand, but yard. You know, like words like that do exist as well.
Yeah.
Plus an A is not strictly speaking forced. So Y would technically work. Nope. I don't like Y there, but I also don't love H there, so it's like, you know.
Yeah. We might also be mistaken with the C.
Hearty. Like a hearty meal. No, wait, it's still with an E, isn't it? Heats. No, that's the other way around. Fuck. What is it saying? Maybe not. I was still trying to figure out the second row. What were you saying?
I mean, maybe we were mistaken with the C.
We could be mistaken about the C. The problem with the C is that the only other spot that it could currently go in is this and this. And that?
Yeah.
But CN is, you know.
Yeah. Another problem is that where you previously had the U right before the N, of the vowels, only a U can go there.
Or Y. Yeah, no, you're right. O is not allowed.
And you could try to force a consonant there as well, but I don't think it works in this case.
Yeah, I see H in front of like an R or something that would just be pronounced like C. Christ.
I mean, CHR, Christ, Chrome,
no
there
R's.
are...
Yes, yeah.
No R's. No R's. And PN is also a thing, but not CHP. At least not as far as I'm aware.
So we're saying this has to essentially be U?
I think so. That's the only configuration that makes sense to me in how we have our hints so far.
Okay, quick sanity check. utor is not a word. Vtor, Ertor, Tor, Ztor, Ptor, Store, Tor, Ftor, no. Man. Ktor, Eitor, Xtor, Ktor, Vtor, Ntor. Ntor sounds like something because of like mentor, but Ntor, it has to be Thor, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I guess more and more says that the CH might be wrong. Fuck! Right, I think part of why the CH was there, though, to be fair, is because I've had, like, this all filled up before.
Yeah.
And now that I don't have this row filled out anymore, which used to say under, this could once again be a C. And then all of the rest is just moot, right? Like,
yeah, I would still keep the U, though, since I think that's the only letter that makes sense there. And, yeah, over there.
Yeah, I mean, in front of an S, like, we could probably make something work, right? Where it's like ent something there, and we could make a prefix work that's 2 letters, but then can we make like a root work that is just 2 letters? Yeah, I see your point.
It's the only vowel that can go there.
Okay, how close are we to actually putting unq in there? Wait, Sergej, so we talked about 2 types of Q, right?
Yeah.
Weird question. What about the cue ball? In actual billiards. Like, the billiard cue is the QUEUE variety, right? Isn't it? No, wait, is it? In English?
I don't actually know. I don't think I've seen this word spelled out before.
I think pool cue is also CUE.
Many times.
Which is weird, because I'm pretty sure in German they're called Q, which does not sound like it would be CUE. And I'm pretty sure it might actually be the QUE spelling, which is then utterly insane because it would be the same word but a different spelling. What was I? It's like pool cue, cue ball. Like, surely unque is, if nothing else, a pool term, is what I'm saying.
I mean, it could be. Very, very well could be. It could be also uncut.
Which is definitely word. That, I guess that's the advantage. I was just thinking, like, is there an advantage of one over the other? But the answer is this one is definitely word. Also, it maybe produces a better column on the right, which is what we're actually theoretically trying to guess right now. The rightmost column or bottommost row.
Yeah.
Which end in sur and tur, which are perfectly normal endings. I keep wanting to say answer, which doesn't work on so many levels. Mostly the fact that it's misspelled, but also the A is not allowed anyways. You know, bottom row? Answer. ANSER. I don't know. Maybe it's answer. With a U.
Yeah.
U is the only... By the way, you said U was the only vowel allowed in one of those spots. U is the only vowel allowed in that row. Because we have A, E, O, and I categorically disallowed. Yeah. So Y and U are the only vowels that go there at all. The S absolutely could be there. You know, for example. Something like that. Whoops.
SCO?
Yeah, sure. Ascot. I mean, double T, I think. Maybe? Not sure. How many T's does Ascot have? Because I think that has been a word before, so it would have to be 1 T then.
I'm unfamiliar with that word.
It's kind of like a tie, but it's like it has like 2. Usually, I think it has 2 like slightly shorter pieces that go like up until here-ish, maybe.
Okay.
Fred from Scooby-Doo wears one. Although, I think technically what Fred from Scooby-Doo wears is not an Ascot, but it's something kind of like that.
I mean, it sounds like it would be spelled with double T, but spelling is weird
I want to
sometimes.
say we've guessed ascot before, and we've only once done one with longer words, and I think that was like 7x7 or something. So I want to say we've used ascot as a guess before, which also would mean that it has to be 5 letters. Because we never played a 6x6 version of this. I'm not 100% confident, but also we do need an A in that row anyways, so it's kind of convenient if it's true. And the other words kind of work as well. I mean, to be fair, I did just kind of put deter in there because I also like guessing D if we like are just want to like take a stab at it, so it's not like it's a bad guess.
Yeah.
But I believe it was the most common letter in your list that we haven't guessed yet. Because the first 11 were essentially laser, tonic, M. Which we have all guessed already. Not in that order, it's Earl's, the first 5 in order, but...
Yeah.
And tonic is also out of order, but... And then it's M here, so like, the next best letter to guess would be D. It could be meter, actually, come to think of it.
Ooh, I like that much more.
S. Just about anywhere. Great. Oh, wait, chur. Oh, chur. You chur. Chur. I will say the U in uncut does not have to be right. Is the other problem. Because this could still be an E. More relevant, I was saying, like, if this is incorrect, this doesn't have to be U.
Yeah.
Chur just sounds like such a nice ending, but it's like overture, right? Like, those are like long words. Stewer is not a word that I know of.
I believe I've seen it in English before. I absolutely do not know if that actually exists or what it means.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen that sequence of letters. I'm just not sure if I've seen it as a standalone word.
I don't know. I think I did, but I'm really unsure about that.
I mean, it could almost be a fish. There's a... In German, there's a fish with a similar name. That might not be relevant. Asm is a viable ending, as is asd maybe, but asm is definitely one. Like in chasm, orgasm. Yeah. Chasm literally works, right? Doesn't it? Actually, come to think of it. I mean, we'll see how well that works.
And then we're back to CHUS.
Yeah, right. We didn't want those letters there specifically. I was going to say plasm, which works in some context, but not as... I don't know if it's a word. Like ectoplasm, you know? But it's like, that's just plasma. Yeah. And fuss is spelled with an F. We could always just guess meter and see where that takes us.
Yeah, how about it? Let's just go for it.
Well, isn't that interesting?
Okay.
I'm removing this U. And while I'm at it, I might also remove that S. Yeah. M. Well, it's not going to be MT, and it's not going to be MH. Granted, you know, H is not super confident, but it feels like it should be there then, the M.
Yeah.
Well, aren't here allowed? Wait. What is this? I mean, this will have to be right, like an S, because ST.
Yeah.
I mean, if the A is correct, then what else would this be?
Hmm.
I was gonna say a mass, but it's once again doesn't work.
Smash and shush.
Smash. That's really good. And shush. Dude, S-H-U-S-H. What a word.
Yeah.
Huh. Hasty and hyper? To uncup? Hey! Uncap!
Oh, yeah, that works.
Hunter. No. Actually, wait. Mantu. Hunter is a word.
It's not hunter, though.
Wait a second. Why is it not Hunter? Oh, right. It's literally not Hunter. Okay. Hater. Manta. Is it manta ray?
Yeah.
Which would give us Smash, Hasty, Uncap, Store, Hater, Shush, Manta, Ascot, Stare, and Hyper. Hyper as a standalone word is a bit kind of weird, but those are technically all words that I know. And barring Ascot, I'm assuming those are all words that you know as well.
Yep. I don't think it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. If it was Asta, then it would work with Rose because then we would fill in HA automatically.
Yeah.
But given that it's not Asta, as in Hasta la Vista, it isn't gonna work. So yes, it doesn't matter. Which means we're going by columns because Shush is the one I'm least confident about, despite the fact that everything else would fit. I just don't love onomatopoeias. I know they're in here, right? Like that, it wasn't that even.
Yeah.
Just, also, onomatopoeias just don't necessarily have consistent spelling. Stare and hyper. Normally I read the words out at the end, but I just did that, so I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to then pull up a picture of an Ascot, I guess, because that would be the logical thing to do next. So yeah, let me do this, do that, and go Ascot. And images. And oh! It's also the British horse race, right. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? Okay. These pictures don't seem that good because there's always like a shirt over it, but yeah, this.
Yeah.
This is an Ascot. And this is the freaking Ascot horse racing thing where everyone dresses up nicely. And there's just a bunch of pictures of the British royal family because of that. Can I just put Ascot tie? Is that a thing that I can do? Yeah! That's much better. Yeah, see, it's just... I guess it's those things. It's just like a really wide tie.
Okay.
Then if we look at Fred Scooby-Doo, because I don't know his last name, he wears something kind of like that. But again, people call this an Ascot, but apparently it's technically not an Ascot. But like, you know...
I mean, compared to the images I've seen, that does not look like an Ascot to me. I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Again, I feel like it's one of those things where like people are like, not a tie, because ties are like commonplace, as are like bow ties or maybe even bolo ties. But like Ascots are just like a little like fanciful and aristocratic, and so people are like, oh, you're wearing something aristocratic around your neck, it must be an Ascot. I think that's just what happens. I genuinely believe that.
That could definitely be. All right. Goddamn, that was a difficult one. Took us a while.
Yeah, I guess we'll just quickly go through some will you press the button? Where we answer the question of whether or not we would press the button. It's quite self-explanatory, really. So it's usually a good thing and a bad thing, and then we have to decide if we want to take both of them or neither. You can pause time whenever you want, but there's a 50% chance you will be stuck in time forever and ever.
Usually the answer would be take the power, because it's a limitation on the power, but I don't know if I would like to have it in this case if I accidentally happen to use it.
I feel like accidentally using the power...
Because the consequence is just so high.
But yeah, so when you say ever and ever, you mean like ever and ever? Like, I feel like if you said, I could never restart time, but also, like, I still age the normal way or something, then maybe that's fine. Actually, speaking of, like, I don't care if I'm stuck in time. Like, if I can still kill myself. Like, I mean, I'm not saying, like, I'm actively using the power. I'm just saying, like, you know, if I'm in one of those cases where, like, a car is heading right for me and somehow jumping out of the way is not an option anymore because of time, and I can freeze time, and then I can live, and maybe I can unfreeze time again, and maybe I'll just, like, live in frozen time for a while and then kill myself because, you know, I go insane.
I mean, if you still retain the ability to kill yourself, then yes, definitely take that. Otherwise,
so this is weird, right? Because on the one hand, the idea of pausing time normally is that you can, like, still interact with things. So it's as if time slows for everything but you and things you directly interact with. At the same time, if we're saying forever and ever, that means you don't age, so some of your bodily functions really don't happen anymore when you're frozen.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like, can you die in this, like, non-metabolically active state?
Right.
But, like, again, it could save your life. Like, there could be a situation where it saves your life, and there's still only 50% chance you get stuck. And if the worst that happens is you get stuck, and then, you know, once you start going insane from the isolation, you kill yourself, it's still better than dying before you pause time, right? So I think...
Yes, maybe.
I think it's worth pressing this button. It's just that if you do get stuck in it, and there really is, like, no way out, including death, then that is terrible.
Yeah.
I will say, as always, when people read this question, they just think, would I want to use that power? Not, would I want to have that power? Yeah. And that explains this situation. We way overthink these, and that is the only way these are fun to me. Okay, so let's see. You get $360 quintillion. That sounds crazy. Wait, you get 360 quintillion pesos. Yes, they use the same currency icon. But you look homeless and be single. I mean, put a couple extra holes in my shirt and I already look homeless. And I'm definitely single. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yes, I will take that.
Yeah, I'll take one for the team.
Yeah, 62%. Let's do, like, I don't know, 2 more. You get to have any video game early and for less than $20 for free. But you have to watch an ad every mission and multiplayer match. I mean, I guess that there is the degenerate question, like, what constitutes an ad, right? And, like, how, again, structured in terms of matches and missions. Because if we're talking, like 20-minute missions / matches and, like, a 50-second ad beforehand, this is absolutely a trade worth taking. I think the counter
I would not.
To that is that I feel like if you are really that keen on getting access to video games without paying for them, aside from a couple of the online ones, I feel like where there's a will, there is a way, you know? Not early necessarily, but certainly free. Also, I already don't play that many video games anymore. Right? It's
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, this you have to watch an ad every mission and multiplayer match does not limit itself to the games you do get early and for free.
I was just gonna say, it's kind of ambiguously worded. I could read this either way. And if I read it to mean only on the free games, then obviously yes, right? Like, because at that point, it's just a limitation on the thing. But like, if it doesn't, I just said I haven't bought a game in years. Like, we're just adding ads into the games that I'm already playing. Also, not every game has missions and multiplayer matches, so like, however that works.
Yeah.
But not I already don't buy new games, as I said. So like, the appeal of the upside is very minimal, and the downside, if it applies to all my games, is so bad.
It would be terrible. Yeah.
You will be transported to a fictional universe of your choice and to anything within human capability. But anyone you know in this universe immediately forgets your existence and you must make a living where you choose.
I am a bit confused about the wording on this one. So I guess everyone
because it says you must make a living, which is like normally it's kind of implied, but like you must. Like, if you ever do not make a livable wage, you just I guess instantly die. I don't know. Like what do you mean?
No, I'm more confused on the where you choose part. Because what does that mean? What choice?
So the way I read that, because this is generally awkwardly worded, I'm assuming non-native English speaker.
Yeah.
I think they mean within the universe that you chose for the first part. That is how I read that.
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Which, so the way I read this question, you have to like work for a living in this universe. It's like, yeah, kind of implied already, right? So like, it's really mostly this part that's part of the downside. The other one is just kind of like, yes, you have to still live there somehow.
In this universe, does it relate to the one that we are currently in, the quote real life, or does that relate to the fictional universe of our choice?
Oh, you mean the within human capability part, or what do you mean?
No, but anyone you know in this universe immediately forgets your existence. I assume that means the current one that we're in right now.
Yeah. I think they're saying like you get erased from existence, including past. Essentially, like people forget that you ever existed, but you get into some this.
I mean that is not really a negative, is it?
No, I guess
if you're
no one knows that you're gone, right?
Universe
it's
anyway,
much better they never know that you existed than they think that you're gone. But
right?
I think for most people they wouldn't like this. I think that's one of those things where it's just like
that just sounds like an upside to me.
Yeah, and again, you must make a living. I kind of already have to, right? Like it's really not that different. The really interesting thing for me is the do anything within human capability thing.
Yeah, right.
Because like it doesn't say my capability; it says human capability. And also, is it human capability of this world or human capability of that other world? Because I can definitely find a fictional universe where humans like naturally just live longer. For example, like in Star Trek, there are characters that are like 150. Because medicine got better, you know?
Yeah.
It's just a thing that happens there. I mean, granted, the character that, I think it was around 150, like also did look quite old. Like, probably like, close to what like a 90 to 100-year-old would look in the real world, so it's not optimal, but it's like, significantly better than it is already.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It's like you see some real 120-year-olds, like, boy. Where was I? Well, only one known case, but 119 has been reached a couple other times.
So how would that work with like you must make a living if it were Star Trek, for example?
Right, because it's it's post scarcity. I guess maybe that's why they put that there, so that it's like you can't just pick a universe where it's too comfy.
Yes, I mean probably unintended, but yeah. That's how I read it. Let me think of any where you could survive as like a normal, typical human being.
But it's also not post scarcity because otherwise the condition about the work.
Yeah.
Because I always want to say Star Trek for these.
Right.
Because it's such an easy answer because it is just like better technology, like post scarcity. It's just better in every way, basically. Well, depending on the era that the show is from, it's better than the present day of when it was produced at the very least, because obviously not only has some of the technology gone a bit wonky if you look back on the 60s, but also some of the generals have been a bit,
Yeah.
Not that it would affect me personally, but, still. Principles.
I really can't think of any right now. But, like, in theory, it would be better. Like, surely you can find some universe.
I still, like, and
fulfills
you do anything within human capability is such a weird phrase, but it kind of almost sounds like I can do anything that like any human being could do, kind of, which is already like an insane thing to be able to do. So I'll just pick like, I don't know, Law and Order or something, and it's just the real world. But also I now have like damn near superhuman powers. Or is it like, oh, I'll pick like Marvel, and then I can do anything that any human character in that universe can do? Like, who would I want to point out? I don't know, Captain Marvel, Blue Marvel. Hey, how about that? Like, I can do anything that Blue Marvel can do. Like, dude. Like, I can do anything that Mad Jim Jaspers can do. Like, I think I can come up with some pretty insane options there.
That is
Franklin
that
Richards.
Is quite fair, yeah. That is honestly quite
like
a good observation.
The one, what is it? One of Jean Grey's kids, Hope, I think the one. Like there are a bunch of OP characters in there that are technically human, right?
Yeah.
But like, what do you mean? But that's what my mess. Like, do you mean anything within like actual real world human capability? Like, what does this mean? What does any of this mean?
Yeah.
To me, this sounds like you can go to a fictional universe, don't know exactly what the next part means. People in the real world forget you in your origin universe, and you still must make a living in your target universe, which, like, yeah, implied. And that sounds amazing, right? Like yes. Actually, one of the things about the whole the idea of like, oh, the doctor shows up, right? Like, and like, oh, do you want to be my traveler companion? It's like, there will be people here that will miss me. Can I at least say goodbye first? Right? Like, which I mean,
yeah.
Usually in the actual Doctor Who show, like, people do, a lot of companions got the chance to say goodbye. Not all of them. Like, that sort of a thing would obviously be alleviated by the, everyone forgets you thing. And presumably this is a one-way trip anyway, so. But, again, if you get the chance to live in something like Star Trek, where it's just, like, better, in basically every conceivable way, that is still absolutely worthwhile. I mean, unless you end up somewhere in the neutral zone, in which case, not necessarily. But,
I mean, I would definitely press the button. I would have to first spend some time researching.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What kind of universe?
Yeah, God, it just ends up being some like fan fiction AU where it's just like it's not that different from the real world, but somehow like nothing bad ever happens because some of those people just don't understand that stories need stakes.
Yeah. Honestly, that might be an easy
coffee shop AU. It's like, okay, yeah, we're going there. Also, I will say, right, like a lot of those like superhero universes are worse than the real world by like some margins because of just like a lot of collateral damage. But for most people, for most of the time, it's just like the regular world.
I guess, but like so many things happen so often. I would not want to be there. Even if like the chances of something happening to me personally are pretty low.
Yeah. So if you move outside of any of the big cities, especially North American cities, you'll probably be fine unless the Earth actually gets destroyed or the universe gets destroyed, or which occasionally happens, of course. But then usually gets.
I mean,
that is. So it's fine.
I think it's still like an inconvenience I would rather not have to worry about. I mean, you know, like the Earth getting destroyed is like maybe a casual Tuesday for them, but like I would rather.
But that's
not.
where my house is. You could always try to like, you know, hitchhike some sort of spaceship or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
What was I? Right. Is there would like if I like show up and it's like pre-crisis? Do I like? Is there a post-crisis JJ? And is that technically the same person? Like, did I essentially die? Is that seems like a bad thing? You don't need to understand any of the words I just said. The point is, songs of the week. That is the point. I think. What is your song of the week?
My song of the week is "Strive" by Christopher Larkin.
So is this boss music or is this just like level music?
This is a generic mini boss track.
Because at first I was like, oh, boss music. And I was like, wait, this is... Like, when I made the switch, I was like, is this boss music? It kind of straddles the line between boss and non-boss, which I guess is what a mini boss is.
Yeah. It honestly, it is really difficult to, like, find a 20-second segment that kind of represents the song with these kind of tracks. I really wanted to do an atmospheric one because there's some like real bangers in there, but
they're very boring for any 20-second segment that you can pick, right?
There's I don't think there is like a 20-second segment in any of the ones that I like really like that would be like a complete small section.
Yeah.
Because they're just like slow. So like 20 seconds fills up very fast.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that
like,
before.
It's not a lot of movement.
It's usually, I usually pick the chorus and it's like, oh yeah, like sometimes you have a song, it's like, oh, this, like, it's a fast song, it's like 10-second chorus, it's like, oh, actually, I need to, like, figure out how to, like, make a song, because I kind of tried, I want some consistency in this segment. And then it's like, it's a slow song, it's like, oh, shit, the chorus is, like, 40 seconds, like,
Yeah, like, what do you do then? That is a problem that I have basically every time I try to do classical music in these segments. Because just like I don't know what the word for it is, like the bars, the movements, whatever you call them, are just so long sometimes.
Yeah, and it's...
And
I usually don't do instrumental music, and so I think for me there is a little bit easier way I can like try to figure out where as long as you like have some full sentences in there, you can kind of make it work. But yeah, no, that is... I mean, also, yes, I guess the actual purpose of the segment. I think it's a cool song in its context, which is to say, like, for video game music, it's quite cool. I think we talked about this before when you had a Hollow Knight song. I just don't listen to video game music or basically any non-instrumental, purely instrumental music. I almost got it backwards. Just like on the side. So like I like to listen more to, I was gonna say pop music. That's not quite right either. But you know what I mean, right? It's just like regular old music, right? Like I'll turn on the radio. Yeah. Whatever. But like,
I mean, generally that is true for me. There are 3 exceptions to that. 2 of them being Hollow Knight and Silksong. The other one being Nier Automata.
Yeah.
That one actually does have lyrics.
Okay.
So might be something for you if you want to give it a listen.
You know, it's just interesting. I think some people like actually just having something like this on in the background, and that's fine, right? Like maybe not something quite as energetic, even. Sometimes it's more so the calmer stuff. But I'm just not that kind of person, right? I just like having like actual actual music. But then this is absolutely music. Right? It's just not what I think of when I hear music, right? The word music.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. This is fine. I just like would not go out of my way to listen to it unless I was playing a video game, but it makes sense, right?
Yeah. One thing that I like about these tracks, in particular, is like that it is like so close to like classical music. Specifically, I think most of them are Baroque, but they're like all have like this modern touch. Baroque. I don't know, man. But they all have like this modern touch. They're like a bit faster. Have like some. Well, actually, not necessarily faster. There are faster, like classical pieces, even.
Yeah.
More action, but like I don't know. It just feels more modern-ish.
Fair enough. I actually do want to see if some people maybe make like metal versions of these, because I think we've said this before, like metal and hard rock oftentimes are just like, if you play classical music on like electric guitars, it basically becomes metal. And so I feel
Absolutely.
like I could totally see someone like try to like do some different instrumentation. I mean, it would probably have to be cut down a little bit, because classical pieces are usually longer than like pop songs, or you get metal songs.
Mm-hmm. But quite ridiculously so sometimes.
But I think like taking like some segment of it
over 40 minutes,
like condensing this somehow, and then like doing this with like, again, more like metal instrumentation, and then maybe have someone singing over it. I think that could absolutely be something. And then I might actually add it to my playlist.
I mean, like Sabaton, for example, borrows often from like classical pieces.
Yeah, I mean, again, it makes sense. I think there is genuinely like not that much difference between some of that.
Yeah.
The biggest difference, I think, are the instruments. And so if you play it on electric guitars, it automatically becomes much more metal.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess probably brings us to my song of the week, which isn't quite metal, but it is rock. So actually, no, I'll put the song first. I was gonna put the story, but I technically would always usually do the song first. So it is A Shot at Redemption by Heat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was watching Peacemaker, and then at the end of last week's episode, this song came on, and I was like, "Wait, this is really cool." And then I had to look it up, and then I looked it up and I found the song, and yeah, it is really cool. The one thing I was a little bit afraid of that happens sometimes is that they like play the best part of the song, and then you listen to the whole thing, it's like, actually, like most of this is kind of trash, but this song's just actually really good. And I'd never even heard of this band before. So, first of all, like, I guess, thanks to James Gunn, I guess, for, like, putting good music in the show. And, they also have other good songs. But I think this, so far of what I've heard of theirs, which isn't that much, but this is actually the best song of theirs that I found so far, which is interesting because it also is the one that introduced me to them. But they do also have some other good songs. So, yeah, that is probably all I have to say about them right now.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Might give it a listen.
Yeah.
Could be some.
And that brings up the Trash Podcast to a close. If you want to see more, just like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. And if you want to leave a comment below. Sergej?
That's it.
That's it.